Hello everybody, this is Vitaly Kaufman, self-proclaimed the Lincoln Town Car guy, and I am thankful and I'm excited that I was invited by the Panzer platform, aka Chuck, to participate in the video collaboration project. This particular one focusing on parts, and he raised a couple of good questions, but unfortunately I am not a very technical person as far as, you know, fixing and getting parts and even really working on my car myself. So he did mention that I could also participate by just talking about some different experiences I have using kind of my channel and using some of the skills that I've gained over the last a little over a year of owning my town car. So I'm very excited. So I'm gonna focus about kind of my experience with parts and kind of fixing and keeping my town car nice and running from a very basic perspective. Now I am filming it on a day when it's like 13 degrees. So I'm keeping my car running. I cleaned off the snow as much as I can. But if you guys think that, you know, keeping the town car in such a shape with ice and snow build up all over the place, if you think that this is town car abuse, well, you're probably right, but there's not a whole lot I can do. So I cleaned it off as much as I could, and I'm keeping it running because I'm going to jump inside in just a few minutes. All right, so as far as the parts goes, yeah, I use a couple different approaches to get to the right part. Number one, I do use a lot of Facebook forums. I am a part of many different groups. I do use them to get new viewers and hopefully subscribers. And I definitely raised a few questions over the last year as far as getting parts and getting the right part. So starting off with these center caps. Unfortunately, I had an experience of 3 of the 4 being stolen just right by where I live. I live in a condo. And yeah, somebody boosted them. So they did leave me with 1. So luckily these things do have part numbers on the back side of them, and I guess I could share with you guys that there's so many versions of these. You really need to get the right one. You could make the wrong part numbers work, but they would usually, you would either need to figure something out as far as getting them in there, or they would stick out just a little bit. I do have a video on that. Obviously, I had experience of getting wrong ones, so I got those parts. Also, this gasket right here, I did have to replace it, and I really don't remember how I got to the right part number. Maybe somebody from one of the groups helped me out, but I realized that Ford at the time had just one type of sunroof. Like, they didn't have the giant panoramic ones or with double pane glass or anything like that. Nothing. So this gasket, so I had a whole series of videos how my sunroof leaked and what I tried doing about it, and yeah, some of it was, you know, a little insane. But yeah, this gasket, so this gasket is the same part number as every other sunroof that was on a Lincoln or a Ford or a Mercury. So that was relatively easy. On the outside, okay, so I did replace headlights myself. But once again, these are aftermarket. Every 2003 plus, you know, to the very end, have the same headlights. So figuring out the right ones weren't that bad. And once again, these are aftermarket, so as long as you get the right kind, that's going to work. And this is actually one of the few repairs or exchanges or replacements I've done myself, so I'm kind of proud of that. I would usually pay a good mechanic. Sorry, these things just piss me off. Yeah, but this is one of those things. I watched a few videos and it was easy to figure out and replace them, and if I could, I would do them again. All right, better stop kicking my own town car. Yeah, nothing else really. I do want to replace this, but this will probably have to wait. As you can see, I kind of have like some water damage in there. I got it like this. I think it's probably getting slightly worse, so at some point I'm going to stop seeing the little star inside. So I do, this is driving me a little nuts, so I'm going to try and replace that, but that's easy. The one thing that I did replace under the hood before I jump inside where it's nice and warm is this little tube. And this I do remember, I posted it. And yeah, sorry for all the dirt and the snow and the salt. Yeah, this is not how I want to present my car, but the reality is that's how it is. I did replace this tube, this EVMD tube, some sort of evaporated something tube. This, the original one, is rubber, and it deteriorated. I realized it started cracking and splitting. So I posted a picture of it on one of the one of the Facebook groups, and somebody shot off an answer with the part numbers right away. So I got it, and it was really easy to replace. Another one of those things I was lucky enough to be able to do myself. Just a couple clips right there, the yellow ones, they came off, and that's it. Okay. Whoa. Everything creaks, and oh, and it looks like there's some water starting to get in there too. So maybe I got, yeah. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I know I probably gonna replace this grill at some point because the chrome is starting to go. All right. Well, before I die, let's jump inside. Ooh. Oh. All right, there you go. Nice, 13 degrees. Negative 11. Okay. Oh, nice and warm. All right. As far as the interior goes, I did replace a few parts here. Those would be these seat belt pretensioners. So it's the whole assembly. So obviously it's the new seat belts, but it's also what goes behind here. This is because I had check engine light. No, I'm sorry, airbag light that came on. And my mechanic first diagnosed it on the driver's side, so I got the driver's side replaced, which is actually a good thing because now I got a nice and new seat belt. And before, the one that when I bought it was kind of starting to fray. So I got it, and then the airbag light went away for a little bit. And then after that, I got another airbag light, and then had to replace that. But ever since those were replaced, no issues. I replaced a couple of these little clips here, the end caps, because when I bought the car, a couple of them were missing, so I moved some from the back to the front, and then I ordered some. So these were kind of tricky to find originally, but I used eBay and stuff, and I was able to find them. And also, yeah. Well, so basically, to sum it all up, how I go about getting parts as kind of a non-technical person, I obviously look for the part number first. I did use a few tricks where I would call a dealership, tell them that I want a quote for a part, and then they would send it to me, and I would try to explain to them what the part number is, and they would send me a quote, and then I would just say, thank you, I'll think about it, and then I would just go and buy it elsewhere. So I used a little dirty trick like that. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So the last thing I can tell you as far as parts, but not that really that I had to buy them or anything. I got all 4 front new bolts because when I first got the car, I mean, obviously you can see it's rusty and everything, but when I first got the car, the seat, as you can kind of see how it's all nice and plush and nice and warm because of the heating feature. My seats were sunk in like these things tend to be, so I wanted to stuff the seat, which I did. This is how it is right now, nice and firm. But I thought I would remove the seats myself, and I got the right socket and everything. They were so rusted that they snapped right away. So and the bolts were inside the car basically, so they snapped in half. So I had to go to a body shop and pay them a little bit, obviously, so they would fix it for me, and they would drill them out. Oh, so dirty. Yeah, and then on the other side, I had my mechanic help me. So I got all 4 new bolts and got my snow brushes and all that stuff. All right, so this is kind of my experience. Look, I don't know how many of you will find it interesting. I do have a bunch of my videos on my channel, like just about everything that I just described. There's a separate video on that as far as how I replaced this and how I went about getting it, and there's a whole other video about as far as what I did with you know, with getting parts and how much it cost me. So here we go, and we will see you next time, and I hope I will be joining some of your other collaborations. All right, take care, everybody.